Hello guys, welcome back to another What's for Dinner. I've got 3 quick and easy meal ideas plus a dessert for you in this one, so make sure that you stay tuned and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. First, we're going to get started with Million Dollar Chicken Bake. I'm just going ahead and mincing up my green onions for this one because I love green onions. So you're going to take a block of room temperature cream cheese into a mixing bowl. I didn't quite have the patience to let mine get room temperature, but I do highly recommend that. And then I'm going to be adding in 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. I like to use Duke's mayonnaise. And then I just cheated and took the easy way out, and I'm doing some of these real bacon bits. I prefer to do it this way rather than bake the bacon and make it crispy because it takes forever, and I'm all about quick and easy, so I have a lot of shortcuts here on my channel. So I feel like my recipes always turn out excellent when I do it that way. And then I'm going to go in with some cheese. I chose Colby Jack cheese, and they always tell you like a specific measurement for the cheese, but I say just throw in what you think because I always end up using the entire bag. I love cheese, so the cheesier the better. And then you're going to just mix that mixture all together. Again, make sure your cream cheese is room temperature. If you have to, put it in the microwave for a couple of seconds, but that's very important. And then to my casserole dish here, I'm just adding in my chicken breast. I'm just doing what comes in our pack that I typically buy. I get our groceries mostly from Food Lion, and typically the pack that I buy I think comes with 5 breast, and so my husband will actually 99.9% of the time take whatever we have left over for lunch the next day to work. So it works out perfectly this way. Me and the kids don't eat a whole lot of meat anyways. We're not huge meat eaters. So this is perfect for my family of 5. I have 3 children, myself and my husband. So I am just taking my little meat masher tenderizer thing here and kind of pounding down those breasts because they were pretty thick, and I get very impatient when it takes forever for my chicken to cook. And I'm also very particular about the texture of my chicken. I don't like it to be like rubbery. And then also you don't want it to be too dry. So I've been finding that doing that lately has helped a lot. So I highly recommend getting one of those as well. And then I'm just going to season it with some salt and some pepper. And then you're going to go in and add in, I'm laughing at watching this back because of how crumbly and messed up my mixture was. You're going to add that mixture on top. It will go a lot smoother for you if you actually follow directions, but it's really hard for my ADHD brain to follow directions. But I'm doing my best, and I will say it always turns out for me. It always works out. So I guess I'm just really blessed. But, just learn from my mistakes, and you shall do a much better job than me, I am sure. Okay, and then just before you put it in the oven, you're going to sprinkle the rest of your cheese over top there, and then you're going to go ahead and put it in the oven. You have your oven preheated to 350, and you're going to cook for about 30 to 40 minutes, but really you're just trying to bake that chicken, so you just want to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. And then for my sides, I decided to do peas, so I'm just adding about a tablespoon of butter in there. I'm dumping in my peas. I drain them. That's just the way I do like green beans, anything canned, I always drain them. And then I'm just adding in some salt and pepper. And then I'm also going to make a side of mashed potatoes. And if you've watched any of the videos on my channel, you know that I love the Bob Evans sides. I am just doing the original. They do have a family size as well if you have a larger family, but the regular size works perfect because my kids don't love mashed potatoes. I'm just adding in some salt and pepper to those, and then sometimes I'll add in a little bit of cream or milk, but today I'm just adding in about a tablespoon of butter. I just feel like it helps them melt better. They don't really melt their potatoes, but you know what I'm saying. And then I'm going to go ahead and make some Cracker Barrel mac and cheese. So I have some water boiling here, and I'm adding that in, and this is what it looks like when it came out of the oven. My sides were super quick and easy, and this was delicious. I just topped it with the rest of my green onions, and this was 10 out of 10. Amazing. This is probably my favorite way to make chicken ever in the history of chicken making. Okay, now we're going to make chicken bacon ranch pasta. So to my pan here, I'm just gonna fry up some bacon. For this one, I could not cheat, you guys. I couldn't do the bacon bits, and there is a really good reason why, because you are cooking the chicken and the rest of the sauce in that bacon grease, and I really do think that it would be a make or break type situation for this recipe in particular, so I couldn't make a shortcut for this one. Sit. Can you sit? Sit. Thank you. Okay, the doggies had to have some bacon. I always think of that commercial where it's like bacon, 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 and the dog's running because he smells bacon. I think of that every time I cook bacon for some reason. But anyways, while that bacon is cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and boil some water, and I'm using rotini pasta because that's what the recipe called for. So I'm going to use that. I'm boiling the entire box. Okay. I'm not very good at bacon. I feel like I never know like when to stop. I think it's better if you're gonna make it really crispy to do it in the oven. But anyhow, I move on. So I'm using this diced chicken. I love this from the grocery store. It saves me so much time. So if you can find this already diced chicken, that's what you need to do. So you're gonna leave the bacon grease in there and cook your chicken in that bacon grease. I'm seasoning it with some salt and pepper, just like the normal. You can season it with whatever, but I'm just doing salt and pepper, and then I'm doing some onion powder as well. And then the recipe calls for some Italian seasoning, so I'm sprinkling on the Italian seasoning. So it did say to remove the bacon grease and set it aside before you do the chicken, but I highly recommend not doing that and just cooking the chicken in that bacon grease. It's gonna add so much more flavor. I have no idea why someone would recommend dumping out the bacon grease. I feel like most recipes tell you to keep it because it's so flavorful, and I mean, who doesn't love bacon? Okay, and then once you remove your chicken from that pan, you're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of butter and a tablespoon of minced garlic, and you are gonna let that cook for, I believe, about a minute. So while that butter is melting and cooking with that minced garlic, you just basically want to stir that for the entire minute. You're going to do this for 1 minute, and then you are going to add in your half and half, and you're going to be using 2 cups of half and half, but you don't want to dump all of the half and half in there at once. You just want to kind of do it in little splashes and just kind of stir it as you go. But you're going to add in your ranch seasoning. I just used this entire packet. I don't think that was the exact measurement, but you know how I do here. I just measure with my heart. So I dumped in that whole packet of ranch seasoning. And then you are also supposed to add in 2 tablespoons of flour. I could have swore that I filmed that, but I cannot find it in my footage. So I don't know where it is, but you have your ranch in there, and now you have your 2 tablespoons of flour. And then you're gonna mix that up until it becomes kind of like that thick roux. And then you're gonna add in your cheese. I think it calls for 2 cups of cheese, but again, I was like, okay, I put it in the measuring cup and I was like, why are you even doing this? But I guess it was important because you should add in the cheese pretty slowly and just kind of allow it to melt. So don't dump all of the cheese in at once, just sprinkle it in a little bit at a time. Okay, and then once that's all melted and mixed together, you're just gonna add in all of your drained pasta, and you're gonna mix that together really well. Just make sure you coat all of those noodles. And then you're gonna go ahead and add in your chicken. And then I just ended up kind of tearing apart the bacon because I didn't get it crispy enough. So I'm just doing that and adding that in there. And then as you can see off to the left there, I did add in some bacon into my green beans, which by the way, they were supposed to be a steam in the bag type situation, and the bag blew up in the microwave and scared the crap out of me. And so I ended up just boiling them on the stove. They worked out fine, but that was something that had happened. But yeah, I added some bacon and onion seasoning to those and just boiled them. But this one was amazing as well. We loved it. Okay, and for the next recipe, we're doing cracked out chicken tater tot casserole. Again, I'm using that already diced chicken, saves so much time. I'm putting that into my pan here, and I'm adding some of this rotisserie chicken seasoning. You can add whatever seasoning that your family likes, but I did feel like the chicken needed to be seasoned, so I'm doing that. And I realized that I didn't grease my pan, and you're supposed to. I think you're supposed to put some olive oil or butter in there, so you'll see me add in my little dollop of butter. I was a little late, but it's okay. It worked out. Okay, and then to my mixing bowl, I'm gonna go ahead and add in a whole packet of ranch seasoning. And then you are gonna need 16 ounces of sour cream, which if you don't wanna measure like myself, then you can just get the whole container is 16 ounces, okay? I don't know how many times I've had to work with sour cream to realize they have an 8 ounce and a 16 ounce. You don't need to measure. So just again, learn from me. And also you are adding in a block of cream cheese. You are gonna want that to be room temperature as well. It almost always needs to be room temperature, and I almost always forget to set it out and make it room temperature. But anyways, now we're going to be putting in our mayonnaise. Again, I'm using the Duke's mayonnaise, but you can use whatever mayonnaise that you want. And I do not know how much I'm putting in here. How much am I putting in here? A half a cup. I'm putting a half a cup of mayonnaise. Okay, and now I'm adding sharp cheddar cheese. You don't have to use sharp. You can just use like regular cheddar or whatever kind of cheese you like, but it says 2 cups, but again, I'm just dumping it in there. And then I'm using my mixer. I thought it would be a lot easier to mix the cream cheese up this way. I learned from my mistake from the first recipe, and I'm using my mixer, and it did work out a lot better this way. Okay, so for the bacon bits, you can cook the bacon if you want to be fancy and you want to go that extra mile, but I'm just doing my real bacon bits. Now, keep in mind, when you are buying these, if you choose to do the bacon bits, there are real and there are imitation. Get the real, okay? It's important. And then I'm adding in my green onions. It says 2 green onions chopped, but I always just get the whole, like, what do you call it, bushel, and chop up the whole thing. I love green onions. And then you're gonna add in your chicken once that's cooked through. And then the recipe did not call for this, but I added in a bag of steamed corn because I wanted to sneak a vegetable in there, and then I got to overthinking it, and I was like, okay, is corn even really a vegetable? Is there nutritional value to corn? I don't think so. I don't know. And I also, this part gave me major anxiety, adding in the hot stuff and then kind of making the mixture kind of like melty and then adding in frozen tater tots, but I was just going with it and it did work out. So you're gonna add in a bag of frozen tater tots. Okay, and then you wanna get your casserole dish and dump in the whole mixture. I don't know if it said to grease it, but I didn't and it worked out. So you can grease it if you want, or you can skip that step because it seemed to work out fine.
Mommy,
Yeah.
over outside.
You wanna go outside?
Yeah.
Okay, we will in just a minute. Okay, and then I'm gonna take what I have left of my cheese, which was not nearly enough, okay, and sprinkle that on top. I did thankfully have another bag in the fridge, so I grabbed that and added in some more. And I'm just gonna put that on the top, and then we're gonna put that in the oven. Oh wait, no we're not. We're gonna add those green onions on top, the remaining green onions. Then we're gonna put it in the oven, and you're gonna wanna bake this at 350 for about 40 to 45 minutes. This one was really good. I feel like it's pretty kid friendly and it does make for great leftovers. Okay, now for dessert, we're gonna make an apple cinnamon cobbler. This was super easy, which is totally my style. I'm gonna grease my little baking dish here. I have like a smaller version of the bigger one that I was using. And then you're gonna take 1 can of Pillsbury cinnamon rolls. My shopper substituted for these. I normally get the other kind. I don't know exactly what the difference is on the can, like what they say, but these were definitely a different texture and I didn't like them as much. So I highly recommend getting the other ones if you know what I'm talking about. I didn't pay enough attention to be able to like tell you properly, but this is not the kind I normally get. I don't know what the difference is though. But anyhow, just get a regular can of Pillsbury cinnamon rolls. You're going to slice them up into 4s like this. And then you're gonna place those into the bottom of your greased baking dish. And then you're gonna just take 1 can of this apple pie filling and not dump it on the counter like I did. And then you're gonna just put that over top. It was a lot harder to get that filling out than I anticipated. So I have my butter knife and you just wanna make sure that you evenly coat the top of the cinnamon rolls. I'm gonna open that hot oven. I need you to move. Okay, and then all you have to do is put them in the oven. You're going to bake them at 375. It says for 20 to 25 minutes, but honestly, I would just follow the instructions on whatever your package of cinnamon rolls says because that's what you're doing basically is cooking the cinnamon rolls. And then this is what I came up with to spread the frosting or the topping on there. I later regretted this, so you can take the easy way out. Again, learning from my mistakes. I don't know why I thought this was a genius idea. I added it into this bag and then I snipped the corner off and drizzled it over, but learning from a recipe that I made after this, I just stuck the little container in there, take the metal lid off. I stuck that in the microwave and microwaved it for like 10 seconds and then just poured it straight from the container. Seriously, sometimes I don't know what goes on inside of my brain, but learn from me. You can do it this way. I mean, it did work. Maybe I'm just a genius and I know I definitely overthink things, but maybe that's just like I'm secretly a closet genius. I don't know. Probably not. I highly recommend just sticking it in the microwave for like 10 seconds and then you can just pour the icing. That's what it is, icing over top. And then voila, there you go. You have kind of like a little hack to your typical apple cinnamon cobbler. And then I did serve mine with vanilla ice cream. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this What's for Dinner. If you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for next week's video.